أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله كقدره ومقدار العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Brothers and sisters in the religion of Islam, today being the 2nd of Rabiul Awwal according to the Nigerian government, but to me today is the 1st of Rabiul Awwal. It is time, brothers and sisters in the religion of Islam, for us to be sighting the moon ourselves, to be looking for the moon ourselves, because today our leaders are not being sincere with us in sighting the moon. Several times in Nigeria here, you will sight the moon, but what you hear from the declaration of the media is different. So it is better you sight the moon yourself, so that our days of ibadah are going to be recorded properly, most especially Ramadan. If you start your Ramadan on the wrong day, that is very wrong, and you remember your zakat al-fitri is also going to be affected, and our hajj is also going to be affected, and that is why today the whole world is suffering. Our hajj has been locked upon us. Only Allah is going to open that hajj for us. May Allah open the door of our hajj and all our ibadahs. But we must start by struggling from our own part. We must also try to sight the moon ourselves and take up our fasting individually. Otherwise, all our ibadah is going to be destroyed. Today, inshallah, being the 3rd day, I'm very sorry, because according to the government of Nigeria, according to our Sultan here, today is 2nd of Rabiul Awwal. But I think that is wrong. That declaration is wrong. Today is 3rd of Rabiul Awwal. May Allah guide us and protect us, and may Allah correct us if we are wrong. May Allah not make us to be among those who are strong-headed, those who don't want to accept correction. Today, inshallah, we will start our Tafsir of the Holy Qur'an online. For those of you who are interested, please, you should consider to subscribe this channel, so that we'll be releasing our videos subsequently in trying to understand the Holy Qur'an. Today we will start with Suratul Baqara. If you have seen my previous videos on understanding Suratul Fatiha and understanding the Tafsir of the Holy Qur'an, inshallah, that will be very beneficial to you. And also you will now understand this, because the Quran is so interrelated, they are so linked with each other. The previous surah ends with something and the next surah begins with that thing, and that is how connected the Holy Quran is. So if you want to understand Surah Al-Baqarah very well, you must have to start from understanding Surah Al-Fatiha, and how Surah Al-Fatiha ended, you will now understand the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. May Allah guide us throughout this session of our tafsir of the Holy Quran. May Allah not make us to interpret the Quran in the wrong way. May Allah protect us from doing that. And may Allah protect us from interpreting the Quran based on our own personal interest. May Allah protect us from doing that, because the Prophet said, there is a clear hadith. The Prophet said, a Sahaba, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, reported that Nahana Rasulullah and nufassirul Quran bil-ra'i. The Prophet prohibited us from interpreting the Quran based on our personal interest. And the Prophet said again, man yufassirul Quran bil-ra'i falyatabawwa maq'adahu fin-nar. Whoever interprets the Quran with his own personal interest, such a person should seek for his own plot in the pit of hellfire. May Allah protect us from such things. Bijay Sayyidina Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So today, before I start the interpretation, I must have to recite it, and I always include Surah Al-Fatiha in my recitation. So please, you should listen to the recitation before we start the discussion for the interpretation. May Allah guide us. Listen properly, please. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكسبون. Astaghfirullah. It is recited as Walahum Azabun Azim. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. وبلغ رسول الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق الهاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله كقدره ومقدار العظيم. أما بعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. This is a divine secret between Allah and His Messenger, and no one else knows the meaning. And anybody that tries to interpret this verse of the Holy Quran or similar verses of the Holy Quran like this, like in the case of Hamim, like in the case of Alif Lam Ra, like in the case of Twaha, and such other verses like this, anybody that tries to interpret it accurately is wrong Islamically. You must use the word Allahu A'lam, because nobody knows the meaning of such communication between Allah and His Messenger except Allah and His Messenger. Why did I say the Messenger knows? If you look at all the Tafsirs of the Holy Quran, whenever the angel brings a similar verse like this to the Prophet ﷺ, if he recites it, take for example, if you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the angel always recites the Quran with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If he now says Alif Lam Mim, Ibn Kasir reported in his Tafsir, he said the Prophet used to respond to the angel by saying Araftu, which means I understand, you can proceed. Proceed to the next verse. The angel was astonished. Ya Rasulullah, who taught you the interpretation of this verse? Say, who is sending you to me? This is a secret between him and me and not you. He sent you to communicate to me this, and it has been communicated and I understand it. Only the Prophet understands such verses in the Quran. But scholars sometimes used to try to bring some logical interpretation, logically from a human perspective. That is some kind of areas that our thinking faculty can cover. But yet, nobody is accurate in explaining such a verse. So they usually crown it up with the word Allahu A'lam. Only Allah knows the meaning. Starting from Ibn Abbas, the cousin of the Prophet, whom the Prophet raised his hand like and pray for him. Allahumma atihi hikmatan wa ta'wilil Qur'an al-azim. O Allah, grant him wisdom and give him the correct interpretation of the Holy Quran. So he is the one that established the tradition of trying to use logical interpretation for this kind of verses of the Quran. He says Allah, Alif Lam Mim. The Alif means Allah, Lam means Jibril, through which Allah communicates to our Prophet, and this Mim means Muhammad. And he says Allahu A'lam, only Allah knows if that interpretation is correct. So we should not come to conclusion over this kind of verses of the Holy Quran. Allah knows best. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the book in which in it there is no any doubt concerning anything you see in this book, the Holy Quran. Hudan, and it serves as guidance lil-muttaqin, for the one who is destined to be pious in his life. Anybody that is destined to be pious, the Quran serves as guidance over such a person. May Allah put us among those who are destined for guidance. And what is the example of the one who is destined to be pious in his life? If you look at the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, there is a particular verse which was revealed because of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, which shows a perfect example that Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq is a muttaqin. Allah says, وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى الَّذِي يُؤْتِي مَالَهُ يَتَزَكَّى. The one that is pious, the one that is godly conscious, will be distanced from the hellfire. He is also the one that gives his money, that brings his money for Allah's sake to purify himself. This verse was revealed because of an incident which occurred in Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq's life. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq was known to be spending his money in the way of Allah. So Allah named him Al-Atqa. So the one that is pious, which is a perfect example of muttaqin. So this muttaqin, a perfect example for the word muttaqin, is what Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Allah now goes on to say, Allazina yu'minuna bil ghaib. The ones that have deep faith in the unseen. Who are those that have deep faith in the unseen? An incident occurred in the time of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he was a caliph. He was on the Mumbar. He was delivering khutbah, Friday sermon. And all of a sudden, he started speaking with his army that is in the battlefield, without any handset, without any medium of communication. He was saying, Ya Amru, hayya il jabal, Ya Amru, hayya il jabal. O Amr, go and hide under the mountain. The enemies are coming to attack you. This man was in Medina, Sayyidina Umar. He was in Medina, but he was commanding an army in the battlefield miles away from Medina, without any handset, without any earphone, without any medium of communication. So people now started thinking that maybe Amirul Mu'minin has run crazy, has gone crazy. Why? Who is talking to people who are not even here? What is he doing? Ya Umar, Mada taf'al, what are you doing? He said, you cannot believe what my eyes saw. So nobody understood what he was talking about, not until when those army returned from the battlefield. They now came back and be praising Umar, that yeah, Umar, even in the battlefield, we heard your voice. You were commanding us. You are indeed a commander of the believer. This is the power of faith in the unseen. When you establish your faith in the unseen, Allah will start showing you the things that are in the unseen, even things that are far away from you. That is what is known as kashfu. That is the unveiling of what is hidden. Allah will unveil it before his chosen servant. But that servant must be someone who has faith in the unseen. So Sayyidina Umar is a perfect example of such a believer. When Sayyidina Umar embraced Islam, Allah revealed a verse, Ya ayyuhan Nabi. And remember, Sayyidina Umar was the 40th companion to accept Islam. He was the 40th man to accept Islam. And when he accepted Islam, Allah now reveals this verse, Ya ayyuhan Nabi, hasbukallah wa man ittaba'aka minal mu'minin. O you Prophet of Allah, Allah is sufficient for you and those that follow you among the believers. So Allah describes Sayyidina Umar as among the believers. So a perfect example of those who have belief, who have faith in the unseen is Sayyidina Umar. Inshallah, we will stop here. After Salatul Asr, I will come back to complete the part 2. Inshallah. Please, you should consider to stay with me and subscribe to this channel and make comments so that you can even make corrections and post so that we will take necessary corrections so that this series of Tafsir, inshallah, is going to be very interesting. May Allah guide us to the straight path. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi al-ahyar wa sallama tasliman kasira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.